The Supreme Court has asked the doctors protesting over the rape and murder case of a postgraduate medic at Kolkata's RG Kar Medical College to resume work and assured them that no adverse action will be taken once they rejoin. The rape and murder of the trainee doctor had sparked nationwide protests. The top court had taken suo motu cognizance of the matter and constituted a national task force to recommend guidelines to ensure the safety of medical professionals. A CBI investigation in the matter is underway. The Supreme Court said that it is deeply concerned about the safety of doctors across India. If women cannot go to work and be safe, we are denying them the basic right to equality. We have to do something, the court said. Ayush Sharma is joining us live for more details on this story. Ayush, the Supreme Court has once again begun hearing the Kolkata rape and murder case. What has transpired in the court since the morning today? The bench was looking very, very closely at the CBI status report.
Well, yes, Uday, the Supreme Court was hearing the suo motu cognizance of the RG Kar Medical College incident for the second time today, and there were two reports which were submitted today. The first one is of CBI and the second one which was submitted by state for the Kolkata police. See, there are various differences between these two reports, and that is the major reason of concern for both Chief Justice and as well as the bench of the Supreme Court. The Chief Justice was asking continuously to the lawyer of West Bengal and the police that why there is discrepancy between the report of CBI and between the report of the Calcutta police represented by the state. See, the Supreme Court asked Kapil Sibal this time that why the unnatural death case was registered after the post-mortem. See, if it was an unnatural death, then the case should have been registered and then the post-mortem should have been done, taking care of all the reasons which were mentioned in the FIR. Second point which was asked by the Supreme Court is that if the post-mortem was done, then why on the second time the FIR was registered later? These are some very big questions asked by the Supreme Court, because we can clearly understand what the process is. When the case is of suicide, there are other angles by which the PM or the post-mortem is done, and if it's of unnatural death, there are some other laws, other factors which will affect the post-mortem. So this is the main reason of concern for the Supreme Court. They are asking if there is a case of unnatural death, or even if the police feels that it was an unnatural death, the case should have been registered first. And here the GD entry has been registered after the post-mortem, and the FIR, the proper FIR, has been registered after the funeral of that deceased doctor. Yes, Uday.
Ramakant Gaur, senior lawyer, Supreme Court, is also joining us now live. Ramakant Gaur, the Supreme Court resuming hearing of this matter today. What do you make of the court's attitude so far towards the CBI and the state government? Also, of course, so far the order of the National Task Force last hearing. Do you welcome that move? Do you also believe that perhaps there could be some more stringent orders by the Apex Court this week itself?
Stringent measures are required, because if the police and the administration failed to register the FIR even, what action do you look from them? So they did not register the FIR first. They conducted post-mortem. The principal of the college says this appears to be suicide. Now, if this is colorized as suicide, there have been efforts by certain criminal set of people to devastate the basic evidence. Then the stringent measures have to be taken by the Supreme Court, and they are being taken. As a matter of record, CBI is facing a lot of resistance from the local administration, the politicos, the influential people, as it is transpired from the letter of DIG, which is there on Twitter. I read that in this morning only. So it is only the Apex Court which can bring light to the justice. Otherwise, situation is very bad. In fact, this is pathetic. Injustice is seen all over.
Yes, Brinda Digge, women's rights and social activist, also joins us now on the broadcast. Brinda Digge, it is shameful that, the Supreme Court has finally had to step in again in this particular case. expressing their concern, taking suo motu cognizance of the matter, and the mishandling so far of it. They are assuring the protesting doctors that their concerns will be taken care of. They're asking them to rejoin work meanwhile.
See, the Supreme Court has taken suo motu action, that is fine. And I do wish that the Supreme Court would take similar suo motu action for all the other rapes and murders that get committed across the states in India. But over here, asking for the doctors to rejoin work, what has changed in RG Kar Hospital? What have they put into place in the RG Kar Hospital? Is the security increased? Has there any form of place for rest for especially the night doctors who are on night duty? And what is it that is going to be monitoring over there? Because we don't know if it is the same state government administration that is going to monitor the RG Kar, then these doctors do not have anything more to escalate if they have a problem. So all of these issues need to be taken into consideration. Just asking the doctors saying that now go resume your duty and not having all your other institutional security and safety in place undermines the protests that the doctors have been having for all these days and further undermines that brutal, gaudy rape and murder of that student doctor in the RG Kar Hospital. So we want to find out whether the stipulations which the state government has asked for institutional security, at least bits and pieces of it should be in place in RG Kar.
Yes. Okay. Also, meanwhile, Dr. Naresh Chawla, let me quickly draw you in here as well, former National Secretary IMA, who's also live with us. Dr. Chawla, the fact, of course, here is that this is very, very concerning how this particular case has, of course, panned out. Your fraternity has been on the streets. In fact, they continue to in different parts of the country. As far as though now the constitution of the National Task Force is concerned, do you believe at least one main demand of yours has been met? Are you willing to call off the protests? Are you willing to go back to your duties as the Supreme Court is asking you to, saying no coercive action will be taken against you once you all join?
Look, the condition remains as bad as it always was. We are not only concerned about the rape and murder which took place in Calcutta, say on 8th, 9th August. Even before that also, the assaults on doctors have been there all the time. I'm sorry to say, Honorable Court also has not taken of the demand for the bill which we were asking, that the doctors' protection bill which we were asking for a long time, even during the Corona time. Then Health Home Minister Amit Shah ji introduced an ordinance. Why don't we need it that time? So our pain is twin. Number one, we have the public pressure, even the public is against us because we have our own pressure. Our conscience also says that I am a doctor and we doctors are made to work for the people. But the conditions are such, if we call off our agitation, the situation will remain as miserable as it is. How will that change? So the thing is, in my opinion, although the doctors' organizations and the unions are under pressure to call off, but why should they call off? What has changed? Everything remains the same. The conditions of working conditions of doctors in various government hospitals all across, not only in Kolkata, all across India is as miserable. The long working hours, no sitting place, no eating place, and on the top of it, huge pressures, long working hours are the type of even this girl who gave her life on 8th of August had to work 36 hours. It is inhumane. So what has changed? And on the top of it, our demand for the law against the violence against doctor is still has not been taken cognizance of. So I think I'm not saying that we must continue our strike, but there is no reason for us to cut it off. I think more has to be done by the apex court. The way they directed the police, the way they directed the CBI, they could have directed the government of India also the parliamentarian also, that the demand for a new law, a comprehensive law, all-encompassing law, applicable all across India, is a must. That has not come. We regret that, but I think the everyone, everybody, the public, the judicial people, the political parties, the people are. I see a lot of dirty politics which has crept in Kolkata, but the real work is not being done much. In my opinion, our strike should continue till some assurance of the type, a firm assurance comes, and we don't have to come to the streets all over again.
Okay. Also, the fact is, Ramakant Gaur, that there is also a sense that the Supreme Court was not happy or satisfied with the status report filed by the CBI. Ramakant Gaur, can you hear me? Okay, I think we've lost that connection with Ramakant Gaur. But let me quickly bring you in here, Brinda Dige, on the aspects also that the Supreme Court has also come down heavy on the timing of the FIR. Also, the questions as to when the medical reports were taken of the accused and also, of course, of the victim. Also, the post-mortem report. Also, why the first calls, differed in their versions. Reportedly, first the family was told a different theory, and then later they were told at what actually happened. The Supreme Court has come down heavy on these different versions of the case, initially being reported, and also the timing of the medical reports and the FIR.
You're absolutely right, and that is very correct that the Supreme Court has come down heavily on the department, because we know that there is a very grave need for systemic changes. Usually we see that the structures that are there, justice, protection, they are very, very patriarchal. Nowhere in India do police take cases of rape immediately. The delays then make the case even less watertight. And like you mentioned in this particular case also, the police came first with this whole UDR, unnatural death, and then they decided that, okay, this is a suicide, when they had no right to make any of those kind of statements to anybody. The parents were not allowed to see their daughter for nearly 3 hours. So all of this, on one hand, it shows either the police are shoddy and they do not have their SOPs in place, they have no standard operating procedures, or they are in connivance for covering up along with the hospital authority and management. And that is exactly what the Supreme Court is questioning, because right now we know that there is no accountability, whether it is from the hospital management or from the police, because they have not even secured the entire hospital space so that their forensic evidence could be in place. They allowed for some renovation to happen close by. Now, when there is such a gory crime scene, you don't allow for these kind of renovations even 20 feet away. Forget 10 feet away. So all of these are very pertinent questions that the Supreme Court is asking. And I think it is the responsibility of the Kolkata police to give their answers truthfully. At least somewhere we will get to know that there were some people shielding some people, not doing their jobs as per the positions that they have been appointed to, and most of all, not really catering to justice in the long run.
Yes, let me also quickly bring in Ayush Sharma on this story. Ayush, as far as now the hearing is concerned, has it broken for lunch or does it still continue? Also, as far as today's hearing is concerned, Ayush, is the CBI expected to file a further report the next time the hearing happens? Ayush, can you hear me? Okay, I think we're having some technical trouble there with Ayush's connection. Dr. Naresh Chawla, quickly coming back across to you. Dr. Chawla, this is, of course, the Supreme Court now, which is seized of the matter. But are you still adamant on the law that you want enacted from the centre? Your delegations have, of course, met the Union Health Minister and the Union Health Secretary. I think a letter has been written to the Prime Minister as well. Are your fraternity still adamant on the central law that you want enacted?
देखो, look, I already said that nothing has changed. IMA, Indian Medical Association, has always listened to the request of everyone, be it Supreme Court, be it the government, administration. We always, whenever we are on strike, we quickly come back. But that is what our weakness is. Because we belong to a noble profession, and we also are aware that lots of people face a lot of inconvenience when we go on strike. But what do we do? When we are treated as a special profession, is a separate kind of a profession, should we not get that CPA? We are only seeking a protection act. Why should not the Supreme Court also push on this thing also? I am sorry to say, when this was needed during the corona, why is it not needed now? And look, our demand, what is our demands? Only CPA plus punishing this culprit plus declaring of safe zones all around the hospitals. This gentleman who has been arrested for this murder on 8th of August, he was going in and out as if there's no stopping him. So till we get the security, we get the safety of women, we get some good working conditions, and a law which makes us do us practice of medicine in a very comfortable manner, in a very safe manner, how can we be assured? And what is the guarantee the same thing will not come again? So my request to the Honorable Apex Court is that take cognizance of our demand. We are not asking for too much. We are asking for only logical, simple things. And I think till the time we are also under pressure. The people in every now mostly the doctors in Calcutta agitating. In other parts of India, they are mostly on work. But we are also, IME is also under pressure to deliver something, to act as a lobby, and to at least put pressure enough on the administration and other people who mean to us, to at least get us something reasonable. Otherwise, what was the purpose of going on strike? So I think you can understand, I think our demands are purely justified, purely logical, and it should be accepted.
Yes, let me in fact go back across to Ayush Sharma. I believe he's back with us. Ayush, I was trying to ask you about the hearing. Has it broken for lunch? Just give us latest updates, or is it still on?
Well, yes, the bench has risen for lunch as of now there, but before going to lunch, there were some very important questions asked by the Supreme Court. When this hearing began, the Supreme Court has requested the doctors to please call off the strike as the patients are suffering very much. The patients who are going to these government hospitals daily, they are poor people, they have to suffer a lot, and now they cannot get suffering of not getting treatment, which they have a legal right. And the CJI also assured the doctors that no such adverse action will be taken against the doctors. So he is requesting them to kindly call off the strike. But the questions are on the West Bengal government, and the questions have risen after the status report has been filed by the Kolkata police. See, there were other questions also about the vandalism. Now the court is asking about the police, what they have done when there were peaceful protests going on at the incident site, and then goons came in mass number, around 70 to 80 people came in a truck. They have tried to vandalize the building. The crime scene, the main question about the crime scene, that the people should not be even allowed to enter a place where such incident have taken place, and the construction has taken place there at the around 10 to 20 feet away from that incident site. So that could be a possible way to destroy the evidence, or to even change the direction of the investigation. Now the Supreme Court will look for the interjections after the lunch. See, there were several interjections made by various organizations. The FODA has made some interjections, the Delhi Medical Association, the Indian Medical Association. There are various medical associations that have made interjections to put their members into the National Task Force, so their points can also be considered. When coming to the RDA, the Resident Doctors Association, they have said that the people of the Resident Doctors Association, and especially the resident doctors who are the frontline warrior in the hospital, they should be given an equal representation in the National Task Force, as they know their problems better. What the problems are being faced by the resident doctors, only they can explain it better. So they want equal representation also, to which the CJI replied that the people who are in the committee, who are in the National Task Force, they know the problems of the residents. There are some people who are residents also, and there are people who have been residents. So it is going to be taken care of. This has been assured by the CJI.
Now will the matter be heard again post lunch, or has it been adjourned to another date?
No, the matter will be heard after the lunch. It is not adjourned. Possibly the next date of hearing, as told in the previous hearing also, will be Tuesday. But as of now, no such confirmation is given by the Supreme Court. The matter will be taken up post-lunch and the CGI will look for the various interjections that have been made in this.
Yes. Also, interestingly, Ayush, you're telling us that the Supreme Court was not very satisfied with the CBI report.
Yes, exactly. The Supreme Court was not at all satisfied by the CBI report as well as the report filed by the Kolkata police.
Okay, let's get a quick reaction to from Dr. Chawla. Dr. Chawla, the RDA, FORDA representatives saying that their representative should also be there in the National Task Force, but the Supreme Court saying, of course, the NTF is holistic. It will be seized of all doctors' concerns and problems on ground. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court's appeal to doctors. Again, I'm asking you, will doctors take that appeal forward? Will they relent? Will they call off the strike? Will they all go back to work?
I already said something has to be said and done by the apex court, something like which is more than simple assurance. And a representative of Indian Medical Association should be there, including if they don't want to include even FORDA or other state medical associations. IMA as a body.
Okay, so you want an order before the strike is officially called off. Brinda DK, your quick take as a citizen as well. Would you urge the doctors to to hear out this appeal by the Supreme Court and call off their strike for now, or do you believe the protests are legitimate and should continue?
In my opinion,
Dr. Chawla, I heard you out. Let's get in Brinda as well.
Yes, the protests are legitimate. But as doctors, and as Mr. Chawla has pointed out, they have a very special role. And we are talking of very poor patients who come to the RGKR government hospital. So I'm hoping that they would call off and probably give themselves 48 hours time and say that if their working conditions have improved even a little bit, then they should get forward to extend their services to all those citizens, especially the patients who are there waiting for them. And I do hope that the SC's promise to keep them safe and extend security to them is also taken up seriously by the state government and the hospital management.
All right. Let me, in fact, quickly also ask you, though, Brinda DK, about now the role of the state police as well. Do you believe that also should be taken cognizance of by the Supreme Court? Obviously, probes like this, the first few hours and the first few days are very, very crucial. Do you believe that's something that has been botched up in this particular case? And that's something the Supreme Court should take cognizance of as well?
Yes, I'm hoping, because somewhere the Supreme Court has asked certain questions, but it has not yet issued any kind of a directive to the Kolkata police. And that I'm hoping that the Supreme Court will, because the Kolkata police did botch up the investigations and the initial crime scene.
Okay.
They must be held accountable for it.
We've run out of time. We'll have to leave it at that. Yes, absolutely. And that's why, of course, now the security of the hospital has been handed over to the CISF. Perhaps these decisions should have been taken earlier by the competent authorities and government. Now the Supreme Court, of course, has intervened. What will they say post-lunch? We'll continue tracking that for you. For the time being, though, my thanks to our guests for joining us.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.